Good evening, everyone. A little bit of a later evening video this time, but you know me and you love me and you know that I procrastinate. So here we are, but I promised I've been working all day. Anyway, here we go. This week we are learning about California. I'm super excited. I'm bummed that we can't learn about it together in person because it's one of my absolute favorite topics from the whole year. And here we go. So this week is the last week of April and even goes into May. I don't know how the time went by so fast. It seemed like March lasted 97 days, but April was gone in like 2 weeks. It's crazy. So Monday for our class day here, optional Zoom meeting, there will be story time. And you'll see more in a second. I have a journal prompt that I say here is really like more of a do now because I really like the question, and most of the time folks do not know how to answer it correctly, but I'm not trying to like trick you or anything like that, but I am really curious to see what your answers will be. So without looking it up and without looking at any other sources, um, where do you think California got its name from? Okay, check your email, just a message, important message every day. And then a little bit of California history background. Um, the story of how California got its name is a little video of me reading the storybook. Of course, if you come to Zoom tomorrow, I will read it to you like in person. Um, but yeah, it's there. It's cute. The origin story of how California got its name is also a reading. Um, and both that and number letter C here have some questions below. So the background on Spanish California, there's some slides. I also did a video of me presenting the slides. I will also do it tomorrow with Zoom and it'll be wonderful. So anyway, if you're working alone, that is how you do that. The questions for the day are all linked below. So a few questions from the storybook and the reading, as well as a few from the slides themselves. Um, yeah, just a little background. Tuesday, obviously it's not a class day, a day to catch up on things, at least for history. I know you have other classes. I know that your whole day is not spent with, God, I wonder what Miss M is doing next. I know that, but either way, check your email and preview the activity for the missions tomorrow, which would be Wednesday. Again, we will do this on Zoom, but there is a journal prompt where I ask you a little bit about what you learned about the missions in fourth grade. Um, some folks might either not have gone to fourth grade in California or might not remember anything, but you also live here. So try and think of things that you've heard rather than remembering back to what happened in fourth grade. Check your email again, and then the missions themselves. So the story goes that the California missions were established to civilize, Christianize, and help the people in the Spanish colony of California. And while perhaps in some circumstances this was the case, most of the time life at the missions was very dehumanizing for Native Americans. Today, Wednesday, you need to survey several textbooks to see how they were describing mission life over the last 100 years. So some of these textbooks are from like the 1920s all the way until today. So this links up to a document that gives you the little excerpts. They're really only a few sentences each. They're very short. And they're written in modern English, so they shouldn't give you too much trouble. Some questions that are down below. It's bookmarked further down the document. Then take a look at our textbook, and I have the pages right there to see what they say about it and answer 3 comparison questions. So I realize there's a lot of links on that day, but it's also just because I don't have them all on the same document typed out, because in class it would be much easier for me just to like, okay, open the textbook for one and then here's a page of the other documents for the other. But obviously when we're on devices, it's a little bit different. So Thursday, once again, is a non-class day, and then a preview to Friday. So Friday, I ask you specifically about learning and reading about different perspectives. What are your biggest takeaways from this year? Specifically this unit, but this year has been all about how identity influences perspective in a lot of different ways. And so, what are your biggest things that you will take with you moving forward when you come into contact with a um, new thing that you read or learn about, a new person, or something you see in the news? What are you going to take with you and remember about the importance of reading and looking at different sides of the story? I'm really curious. And yeah, so then down here is this little chunk to read. So a bunch of people have asked if we're going to have an end of the year project, and the short answer is yes, but the more complicated answer is one that I will share with you more over the next few weeks. Um, it's obviously not going to be history night as we imagined. It's not going to be the project that I imagined, and I have to kind of let that go because I was really excited about it and I thought that it was going to turn out really cool. I've said this before, but y'all have been one of the best groups to teach this year, and I was really excited with all the progress we had made. So we're going to salvage some of it and just have a slightly different project. So, um, to end out our year over the next few weeks, I'm reading on the document. In small, reasonable pieces, I'm asking that you choose a story, a person, or a perspective to research and learn more about it from our westward colonization unit, or another time in the year if you can make a good argument as to why you would want to choose something that's a little bit off topic. So Miss Lai, the librarian, and I started to make a list of topics and resources for this assignment back in like February, January, maybe even, because I was so excited about this project and we spent time researching. So your job is to pick a topic that you're interested in, not just from the list on the document, but anything really from the unit, or if you can make a good argument from the rest of the year, to research more about. Uh, that specifically, purposefully uplifts the stories and perspectives not usually told, right? You know, and I know that most of this year's topics could be boiled down to old white guys talking. And we've all agreed that that's really not the whole story ever. And so your job is to pick a perspective that is not usually heard, told, recognized, understood, and try and tell part of that story. And it could be through the lens of someone specific and famous, or someone that should be famous, or it could just be about people who we don't necessarily know their individual names, but we know what life was like for them because of, you know, anonymous documents or things that we can learn from sources that certain people produce that could be applied to an entire group of people. So I asked some questions of you down here. They say, want to know more about LGBT people in the West or throughout US history? Want to know more about slavery in California? Want to know more about the fact that most cowboys were black? Or want to know more about the vaqueros? Want to know more about women during the gold rush? All of these perspectives are not usually told at all. So now is your chance to pick something that is not usually how the story is told and start to tell that story. So all I ask is that you look at this document that Miss Lai and I started. Really, Miss Lai did a lot of the research, and um, and then tell me what topic you're interested in. Even if you're like, well, I want to study something about women, or I want to study something about Chinese immigrants during the gold rush, but you don't necessarily know what that would look like yet. I can help you narrow it down, but just let me know what your gut reaction is. So that is our week. Of course, on Monday and Wednesday at 12:30, we'll be doing Zoom stuff. So if you would like to join, please do. And yeah, look for the announcements. Excited for the week. Um, there we go. Stop recording.